Congratulations! You got engaged!
So you're engaged. What do we do? Of course, you're happy for a little bit, and then you start struggling. I gotta plan a wedding. That was probably literally our panic moment. We're like, we gotta plan a wedding.
And then, yeah, now what? It's hard to know really where you start, right? In planning. So it's an overwhelming stage when everyone's asking you all these questions. You're like, I don't know yet. I don't know the date yet.
Welcome to the first episode of Belles and Banter. If you are not our family or our cousins or our friends, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We
appreciate you.
We're really new to this and we're just trying something out for the new year. So yeah, I hope you stick around with us. My name is Joy.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Jules.
And we are the Wedding Belles. We wanted to start this podcast because we enjoy weddings a lot. It's one of our passions and we like to help people, and this is one way that we can get our knowledge out to a wide group of people and stop answering all the questions that our cousins ask us. We could just have in the video instead. So yeah, it also gave us an excuse to hang out and have sister dates together and just kind of sit down and so that's why we started the wedding, the Wedding Belles, and also Belles and Banter.
I did propose the Bickering Belles name for this channel, and we're going to see how that goes. Who knows, we might have a name change by the end of this recording.
We are sisters, so that's why banter or bickering.
You'll see it.
Yeah, you'll see.
Hopefully we don't bicker.
Anyway, so for this very first episode here, we realized that the #1 prime time to get engaged just passed. So, if that's you, congratulations.
Congratulations! You got engaged!
And now you're probably freaking out. So, fun fact, did you know that most couples actually start planning their wedding within 72 hours of being engaged? Yeah.
Makes sense.
You were immediately. You were within 1 hour.
Within a couple hours, for sure.
I was already pre-planning before I got engaged.
I was also pre-planned. I was looking at some Google searches, and trending-wise, like the keywords wedding planner spikes the week after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought that this podcast episode would be very topical for this time of year. What happens right after you get engaged?
Panic sets in. The sheer overwhelm of just realizing, putting together your guest list, coming up with a venue, and then realizing how many vendors you have to book to pretty much make the day to your vision or standards was probably one of the first scary thoughts of it.
I was so excited. I wanted to tell everybody. I was like, okay, I had to think in my head. I'm like, okay, who do I tell this news to first?
Seriously, that was your first thought?
Yeah, like I was like, who do I text first? Who do I call first? That was my first thought.
We weren't the first people you told.
I don't even remember who.
Wow.
Oh.
I see how it is.
Wait. Were we involved in the engagement?
I called you
No,
guys.
we were not involved.
Oh, see-
we were involved in your engagement.
That's why it was less of a surprise to you guys. I literally came home and you guys were all like,
Your husband did not tell us.
No, because he thinks that you would say something. Me, he did not
When you
trust
got
the secret
engaged.
to be kept.
Belles and Banter. What was the first question people asked you guys after you got engaged? Oh, there you go. I'm like, that's not a question.
What an annoying question.
That is a pretty annoying
people
question.
just celebrate the engagement for a little while and don't ask all the stressful questions?
well, I like to think of it from their point of view too, right? Because they're excited and I'm sure they're trying to share in your excitement too.
True.
So they don't mean to be annoying.
That's true.
It's just more of like a, what, you know,
Like
the
a
next
conversation starter.
step. Does it really bother you to answer that question?
Well, no, but it's just probably put stress in some people's
Yeah,
minds, right?
It would be very full of pressure. And I
It's
think-
more like I would rather have a question of how did he propose, or what did he do, or what happened. Being the first to get engaged and at a younger-ish age, I feel like I was going deer in headlights. I didn't know where to start.
All we're trying to say is that it's really normal at this stage to feel a lot of confusion, to feel a lot of pressure. And it's not just you.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a shared experience for anybody that just got engaged. And it's okay. Just take a breath. That's what this video is for. We're gonna see if we can get you to go one step at a time instead of freaking out and getting overwhelmed by literally everything
And all the
that you
questions.
get bombarded with
Yeah.
when you first get engaged. So the average engagement length in Canada is about 12 to 18 months. In Alberta, though, which is where we're from, it actually tends to be a bit shorter. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because we don't pay like extra taxes here, so maybe it's like cheaper to get married here or something like that. I don't know. But in Alberta, it tends to be a little bit shorter. Back in our parents' age, things like Pinterest or the internet did not really exist, right? So I looked up the stat, and apparently, after you get engaged, the average couple sees over 300 different wedding images per day once they start planning.
I could see that. 'Cause you start going crazy looking at vision boards and color swatches and like, everything. And then you just get sidetracked because, that's how internet social media scrolling is nowadays, is there's always one thing of this and one thing of another.
There were a lot of like wedding magazines for like
Back in your day?
back in my day. There were a lot of magazines, and I remember stashing and buying a whole bunch of magazines before I got engaged, and it was a lot.
Yeah, so the overwhelmed feeling that you are feeling is also very valid right now. That really messes with your brain. Just remember that social media makes weddings look very expensive because people really only post their highlights, like the top things at their wedding. So they're not showing you all the different compromises that you might have to take. They're not showing you the behind the scenes mess, or
Chaos.
family drama, the chaos, or anything like that. And also a reminder, just because you saw it on TikTok and it went viral, it doesn't mean that it's actually a good idea. Okay? It doesn't mean that it's good. It doesn't mean that it's realistic for your budget. And it doesn't even mean that it's enjoyable for your guests specifically. So just lay off the social media and start with the steps that we are going to outline here. So, step 1.
Budget.
Budget. Money.
That is the very first thing that you guys have to do. I don't care how big your budget is.
I don't care how small.
I don't care how small it is.
Yeah, you got to talk to your partner about what
Budget.
you agree and disagree on for budget, right? Like, it
What,
has to
what
work
would
for
happen
both
if
of
you didn't
guys.
do this first?
Yeah.
What happens?
Let's see.
Did you not do it?
Okay, we went kind of weird in our wedding because I talked to you about your wedding that happened 6 years prior to our wedding. And I said, how much did you spend in your wedding? And you said,
So and so number.
yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, we can do that. Probably cheaper. So that was our budget until, we booked our venue and it pretty much hit the budget. And so our numbers, it just grew. Our budget, our initial budget, and then our final spend was double, I think, than our original budget, if not more than. Generally speaking, people should not be going into debt for their wedding. So we saved up for our wedding. I'm assuming a lot of people do the same. But I've also seen it where people did take out loans and stuff for a wedding. So anyway, this is sidetracking, isn't it? So let's move over.
Do not go into debt for your wedding.
We didn't even really have a set number. I think that's where our problem began because we didn't have a set number. So we just kind of, and they ended up spending double what we originally budgeted to spend.
I think it's probably because you kind of went based off of what our budget was,
6
which
years
was 6 years ago. And it's different 6 years ago with pricing in the wedding industry than
Inflation.
than it is now. And I think the big part of it is you got to do your research as to what things cost. Like what's the cost of the potential venue that you're thinking of going, and kind of go based off of there.
Yeah, the sticker shock was
you have to
wild.
before you start. Yeah, you have to do the research for sure.
Yeah.
To create your budget, right? And talk to your partner about it. For sure.
So another fun fact is budget problems are, maybe not surprisingly, the number one cause of wedding stress for couples. So it's really important that you have this open line of communication right from the get-go so that you can at least try to lessen that wedding stress. Money is always going to be a hard thing, but try to minimize it as much as possible. Also, fun fact, maybe you are out of the average here, Jules, but couples underestimate their wedding cost by 30 to 40%, typically.
Well, that's embarrassing. Well, again, we were going by 2013 numbers, so that was part of the problem.
Yeah. So don't do what we did, I guess.
Don't do what I did.
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever.
Did we all go over budget?
No.
No.
So just me. Don't do what I did.
Did not go over budget. But so another thing that we want to talk about in this budget category is who is paying for the wedding. Right, so we've worked a couple of weddings where that became very blurry and that caused some strife in the planning process. So I think right from the get-go, what would you guys recommend? Just like,
If someone's gonna give you money for as a wedding gift, so say it comes from your parents, grandparents, whatever, I would highly recommend that you have almost like a really solid discussion with them that this money comes with no strings attached. Because we've seen it happen where these said family members feel like because they gave you X number of thousands of dollars, they feel like they have some sort of say in how you want to plan your wedding. And that results in just a lot of drama and upset from both sides. So I think for me, the biggest thing, if that does happen with one of our couples, is just be clear. If it has to be written down, whatever works, but just be clear that there are no strings attached. And if there are strings attached, I would not accept that money.
no pain,
And
no
remember,
say.
it's your wedding. It's not anybody else's wedding. It's what you want to do, and you can't let anybody else really tell you what.
I'm a firm believer.
Yeah.
No pay, no say.
No pay, no say. I like that.
Say. But yeah, it is a lot healthier to ask right from the beginning, is this a gift? Or is this a contribution with opinions or expectations? So yeah, make sure you clear that up as well in this initial step one discussion stage of planning your wedding, because that's really, really important.
I think from the receiver's point of view, right, the couple, when they receive money, part of it too is they might feel guilt, right? Like, oh, my parents gave me $50,000 for our wedding. Oh, maybe I should let them have some say in inviting certain guests or whatever, right? So I guess it goes both ways. So you can be firm with the people giving you the money, but you also need to be firm with yourself and not blur that line, because once you give a little, get a mile. What's the saying?
The saying is give an inch, take a mile.
Yeah, give an inch, take a mile. So even if you're like, oh, like I just want to give him this due to just me being nice, nothing to do with the money. If you do that, it just creates all those blurred lines that could easily be crossed, and then it kind of resets everything you discussed at the beginning when you accepted the money in the first place.
Yes. So be clear about your expectations,
And
your
firm, I
boundaries,
guess.
and discuss this extensively with your partner that you are marrying. Okay. The next thing that you got to do is determine what categories that you are trying to spend on for your wedding. So as a rule of thumb, no matter what your budget is, approximately 50% of it is going straight to your reception and ceremony. Approximately.
The venue, yeah.
Yeah. So that, just know right away that that is the most expensive big ticket item that you could book. So venue is a very important thing in wedding planning. But more on that later. That's a couple steps from now. Generally speaking, and all of these numbers could change, right? So 50% to ceremony and reception, 9% to florals, 8% each for attire, music, photography, videography, miscellaneous, that kind of stuff. 5% for an emergency fund is a good idea, just in case there are any kind of hidden costs that you didn't
budget
consider.
for. Yeah.
Something might have happened. Maybe you booked an outdoor venue and suddenly
You need a tent.
Yeah, the forecast is rain all week. 5% for emergency fund is always a good thing to budget. 2% for wedding party gifts, favors, that kind of thing. And then 2% for stationery. Although in this day and age, a lot of people just opt for simple cards or things like that. Not a lot of people actually prioritize stationery these days. So generally speaking, those are the kind of categories that you would be spending on for a wedding. Depending on the couple and what they want to prioritize, you might see a different proportion of your budget being allotted for each
Of
those
course, it's
sections.
not set in stone, but that's the general.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to also maybe even change the little percentages here and there. If you want to focus more on florals, if that's more important to you, then you can put a little bit more in your budget for that than other things, right?
Another thing that I want to talk about for budgeting is hidden costs. Things like service charges.
Yeah, like delivery charges, setup teardowns, like with rentals. Those are not really included in the quoted price of the rental items. So that, of course, comes into play as well. And if, say, you choose not to pay those things, then you're going to have to ask people that's maybe attending your wedding, if not like hiring help, to be doing that service for you. So there's a cost either way, I guess.
There's some catering companies, they have hidden costs where they won't do water service at your wedding. And so you have to pay extra, or you have to ask and pay extra about the extra staff that have to do the water service for you. You just have to really communicate too with your vendors.
Yeah. We also, that reminded because our venue was not on the main floor, like it wasn't ground level, and we were looking at renting chairs for our venue. And unfortunately, because it had to be taken up an elevator, the cost of renting the chairs like doubled just because
Go up.
Labor increased, right? Because you can only stack chairs this many high, it'll only fit this much in the elevator, so it takes twice as long to set it all up. So I get it. Like lots of things to consider when it comes to selecting your venue, as well as the ease for the other vendors you were hiring to do their job at that place.
Speaking about people that are working your wedding, another forgotten cost is gratuities.
Mm-hmm.
There's sort of an expectation that you tip, right? Like you tip your limo driver,
Your DJ,
your servers. So don't forget to allot some of your budget for some of those things. Maybe this is where the emergency fund can come in, but there is a little bit, especially here in North America, an expectation to tip. So it's always one that's forgotten too.
Yeah. I guess going back on the tip discussion, I feel a bit on the fence about it because sometimes I feel like as wedding planners, we don't expect tip. That's not something that we charge on top of our fee. It is appreciated when we get it. However, absolutely not expected. But thank you to the clients who have. But yeah, certain vendors will ask for tip. And I guess what I'm just saying is it's never an obligation at the end of the day. Like you can choose how much you want to tip based on the service you receive. And some places I know ask for that tip before the service is even delivered. So that's where you kind of have to be cautious. Generally speaking, we've had clients who just had their gratuities in an envelope where they give it on the day to those vendors rather than paying ahead. Because, on the day of, you just never know, right? So like you could have exceptional service and you want to give more versus what you gave them a week ago from the final payment. So something to consider as well.
Another one that's commonly forgotten is alterations.
Ours wasn't so bad.
Yeah,
Mine wasn't.
I think depending on where you get your dress, if you buy it from a boutique and you're able to order in the size that you are supposed to be, your alterations will probably be a little bit more affordable. Or depending on what you...
Depends on the dress too.
Depends on the dress, right? So there's certain fabrics that are more expensive to alter than others. There are multiple layers. That's all going to add costs. But I remember being a little bit shocked about the price of alterations.
How much were your alterations?
It wasn't expensive. Like I had a pretty budget wedding, but it was like $500.
Oh,
Like that. And it was...
I don't remember what mine.
And it was just like a simple length thing. Like I think I just needed it to hem it a little bit because I'm short.
Your dress had lace.
But yes, my dress had lace, so the seamstress had to remove all that lace by hand and move it all up so that I could fit in it, like, height-wise.
Yeah, because mine, I think mine might have cost the same, if not cheaper. But my dress had it had like 7-10 layers. I think it's got a lot of layers, so that's where the cost came in. But it was literally just straight up the material that it was. So not much detail.
I forgot about my dress and that.
Yours is satin?
Well, yeah, but I forgot that I had to have it hemmed. I just assumed this is the size and like it fits everything, and I forgot about the
bustle too. Bustles are
the bustling as well.
Yeah,
Something forgotten.
Have your maid of honor or mom
Learn.
or sister or something.
We can do
learn
it too.
Or your wedding planners. How to
If you have
bustle.
wedding planners, they can do it too. But if you don't, we'll have someone learn where the buttons are. Practice it because there's different kinds of bustles. They come from different directions, and you just need to know the correct shape that you want to have during your reception, especially.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that in
Another day.
podcast or something.
Sidetrack.
It's a very visual thing though, so it might be a bit difficult. What caused the most sticker shock for you?
The whole wedding.
the entire thing.
Again,
Honestly, for me, it was the decorations, like the decor. I remember it to be like, what? Is it just to borrow, just to rent like a little item to put in the middle of your guest tables, right? That I think that was the most sticker shock for me, but maybe I just didn't do my research as to where to go for decor. I don't know.
I think it's because when you go into the wedding without knowing the knowledge we have now, right? Like as wedding planners, I think a lot of people also get sticker shocked with the price of a wedding planner. But there's a lot of hidden work that goes behind just putting a vase on a table with flowers, right? There is obviously just bringing everything in one piece without breaking it to and from the place. There's also setting everything up exactly the way that the bride and groom wanted. There's the setup of just anything and everything. So depending on how complex it is, there's the labor costs. And I think the sticker shock for us was exactly that, was we're just renting these vases. How could it cost like $50 to $100 just to set them up on tables? But we're not considering the people
and the amount of time that it takes for them to do so-and-so tables, right? Like 10 tables or
with chair covers once.
Oh yes.
Oh man, those chair covers. Our backs were hurting for days after. Okay, so the labor was your...
I think in general, like labor, right? Because like you just don't think about that. Photography, right? Like, okay, wow, $5,000, $6,000 for a photographer. But really, you're not considering the time they're spending with you the whole day, working with your timeline. And on top of that, editing all of the photos, going through them all. There's a lot of time that goes into it. So yeah, I think that's why now we have a better understanding of it. But at the time when we were not planning weddings yet, it was like, holy,
by the numbers for sure.
On top of all the time that it takes, weddings are a very emotionally charged event, right? Of course, this is the most important day for you and your partner, and all of these vendors want to do a very, very good job. And that's why they charge a premium price for it. It's not just because you stuck wedding on something that they're charging more. Like, there's a reason why wedding prices are more expensive than things. Is it ever okay to go over budget?
Well, again, I'm not the best person to be talking about the over budget thing because how do I say this? Like, is it okay? I guess, like, if it's something very important, then why not? Like, if you have the finances to support it, right? Say you had a fixed amount that you just could not go over, then not okay, of course, to go over. But if you have some wiggle room and flexibility, why not? Right? It's a day that you don't want to look back on and be like, oh, dang it, I should have put those sashes on those chairs. You know, well, not that that's
you don't really want to regret anything about your big day. It's a very special day, and it only lasts from I don't know how many hours. 12 hours.
So it's a short day.
So it's really up to you. You have to have that wiggle room, of course, like Joel said. And if you are in a fixed budget, kind of like how I was, then you have to
something's got to give
about you got to cut something from I don't know
something else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to DIY something instead of buying it pre-made.
You got to sacrifice
time,
one little thing.
It's kind of balance that you're trying to find.
So
yeah, I remember my wedding dress. Even my budget for my wedding dress was $1,000 because
mine was $600.
So I'm like, there's I already considered inflation. $1,000. My wedding dress was a little bit more than that, and at the end of the day, no regrets. I loved my dress, and it was one of those things where I had to think about it because I'm like, okay, it was also one of the very first purchases for the wedding, so I started off on the wrong foot already. But
important. It was,
but it was
right.
Important. Like I did
all of your photos.
I could not stop thinking about that dress. Yeah. So if I would have purchased a different dress, I would have been looking back and be like, oh, I should have gotten that other dress. So there's just certain things where if you think you're going to regret it, then sure, spend more on that thing. But if your budget is fixed, then it's got to give somewhere else. So sacrifices.
Yeah. So I think what we're trying to say is it's okay to go over budget, but make sure that you can handle that. Try not to go into debt for your wedding as much as possible. If we want to summarize, what did we say? So for your budget, make sure you communicate well with your partner and any of the parties that are going to be involved helping to fund your wedding. Make sure that you know what you want to spend on and what you want to prioritize. don't forget hidden costs, and it's okay if you go a little bit more if you can handle it. Okay, what's step 2? Step 2, after you've determined your budget, is guest count. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, that's pretty much your number one determiner of your wedding spend, right?
Yeah.
It's the people you're feeding, the people you have to rent seats for, the people, you know, I think the feeding, is the biggest thing. And just like whatever you're buying for. So stationery for invitations, favors,
Yeah.
all of that. So the bigger, the pricier.
Yeah. The more people you have, the more mouths to feed. Expect to spend more. I feel like that goes without saying.
Yeah, so that's like the biggest way to cut your budget though. So say your budget was on the lower end, then just get an intimate wedding.
Yeah.
Less than 100. I would say even 50 if you're, depending on how big your family is, right? Like, but you have to be ruthless with
Yeah.
that guest list.
Yeah, it is difficult to cut guest lists, right? But I think it's really important for you to prioritize who you must invite and who would just be nice to invite, right? Like maybe you don't need to invite your fourth cousin twice removed,
Your boss.
or your boss.
That's-
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you don't need to invite that coworker you said hi to once or that you have coffee with in the coffee room. Like that's okay. They're gonna be all right.
And I think sometimes you have to make it clear to your family members who your guest list is going to be.
This is true.
Because sometimes certain family members can have that expectation, oh, so-and-so auntie should be invited because they were there for your 7th birthday. But really, you haven't really spoken to them since.
Years.
So yeah, just be mindful of those.
Yeah,
those little
guest lists
things,
can
too.
spiral out of control very fast. Very, very fast. Because you're like, oh, well, I invited this person, so I have to invite this person. And then I have to invite this person because they associate with them in some way.
And
Like,
once you've decided that guest list, just stop everywhere else. You don't have to listen to what anyone else says. It is, after all, it is your wedding, right? So you have to be the one to decide who is on that list,
So
not anyone else.
I did a quick Google. What do you think the average number of guests are at a wedding here in North America, Canada?
What is it?
I'm going to go with 100 to 150.
Yeah, you're pretty close. It's 120 to 150 guests. I personally had 72 guests at my wedding. Small one.
We had
Smaller.
about 140.
Yeah, we had around there, that number too.
What part of making the guest list was the hardest for you?
It was definitely the family members, certain family members, asking, can so-and-so and can this auntie or this uncle come to your wedding? I think that was the hardest.
Was it a question?
Some of them were questions and some were them. I think that was the hardest part with the guest list making process. But I don't know, what was it for?
I would say the same. Like we were a little overzealous with inviting anyone and everyone. And in hindsight, and maybe that's why I strongly advise it, like consider who you're inviting. Are these people you've been in contact with and had relationship with in the last few years? Because if you're just inviting people that you saw 10 years ago, or like, you hung out with 10 years ago, they might not be someone you would really care to have on your wedding, So yeah, just something to consider. And really that's an easy way to just make the cut, right? Like, am I still talking to this person? No? Okay. Take it off the list.
Yeah, there's if you Google it, there's probably a few flowcharts that you can find where you can determine who would make the cut or not for your wedding. Did people ever assume they were invited? And if they did, how did you handle it?
Yes.
Yeah, there were a lot of questions. Can I bring my girlfriend of 2 months, or can I bring my boyfriend of it's
The girlfriend you haven't met.
it's hard. It's a girlfriend that I haven't met, or a boyfriend, whoever you haven't met yet, and they're trying to bring their significant other. Just politely, like in my situation, I just politely declined, and I said, sorry, I am trying to make this very family big event focused, instead of inviting so many other people that I haven't really met, right? So yeah, I think I politely just declined.
We had some people who, like, when they found us,
Assumed.
yeah, we've had people who assumed they were invited. Like, I remember when we were engaged, and then we had like that big Christmas party. And then, family friends that aren't exactly that close to us anymore, where he's like, oh yeah, we'll see you at the wedding. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you didn't make the cut. So I was just like, oh yeah. I mean, they never got the invitation, but I think it should be understandable from their point of view. We're not even close to their kids anymore who are our age.
Did you have to, let them know, somehow communicate to them that, sorry, like,
I did not confirm or deny the fact that they were not on the guest list.
gotcha.
She made the cut.
But, like if you don't get the invitation, it's kind of a rejection right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's elopements.
Sometimes, yeah, I wonder. Seems so
It's
much
nice
more
when
easy.
people ask you, actually.
Yeah.
'Cause then you can just politely...
Yeah, it's actually the better option.
The assumptions are the ones that are kind of more tricky.
What do you guys think about the rule of no ring, no bring?
No ring, no bring.
Oh, so like no girlfriend, boyfriend.
Nope, no ring, no bring.
It depends. I guess if they've been
Do you have,
together
like, a
for like
year?
5 years
So
or
5
something.
years?
Well, I mean, that's not like the number. This is a spicy question. This one's more spicy, I think, than the other one. Yeah, it's a good question. Like, as long as you also talk to that partner or to that other person, then sure, bring them. If you actually have a good relationship with them.
So if I am dating a new person 1 week, I can bring them?
Have I met them before?
Yeah.
Have I had good conversations with them? It depends. Do I like them? Do I like them?
Ah, I see.
Yeah, I think the rule for us was, have you been in a somewhat like long-term relationship with this person, and do I know it? If I've never even met the significant other,
Unfortunately.
like that's kind of strange, right? Like I've known you as single for this long. I should know that they would have a partner, otherwise we got to reassess our friendship.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So I guess the answer was it depends.
Isn't that the answer for life?
That's the answer for literally everything. All right, I have another spicy question for you guys. Adult only weddings.
Oh, adults only.
I had a mostly adult only wedding with the exception of my family who brought their daughter. What do you guys think about adult only weddings? How would you feel about it?
Why not? Why not? I mean, yes, I'm a mom. And to be honest, I would rather have a date night with my partner and just have my child. Like, I would love to bring my child. It's just, sometimes it's hard. And honestly, I'm sure the couple would prefer it anyways without kids.
There are a lot
right?
of interesting posts on Reddit
About it?
adult only and people bringing their kids anyway and that kind of stuff. So like anyway, maybe we'll do some reaction episodes for you guys in the future. But yeah, so there's a lot of discourse about specifying that it's an adult only or no kids wedding.
As a parent, honestly, I wouldn't be offended by it.
That's good.
Like,
It just depends on the
Yeah,
couple,
yeah.
too, right? Yeah.
yeah, because like, I get it. Like, you don't want, the chaos that comes with having toddlers running around in your wedding, and that's fair, and it's your day, right? So if we somehow couldn't make it because we couldn't find a babysitter, I'm not going to cry about it, right? It's not my day to complain
What
about.
if it was like there's only the three of us sisters, but like what if it was like another sister of yours who's like adults only?
I'm okay with
That's
it.
fine.
It's their wedding.
Yeah.
It's their decision what they want to do, if they want kids or not at their wedding, and I would respect that.
Well, I
Like,
have
as a
learned
mom-
that my sisters are reasonable people.
Well, yeah,
Excellent.
because it's not about that parent
Yeah.
or that child at the end of the day, right? And like, it's an invitation. You can choose to decline. So,
And really, I'd rather be more present, focusing on my if I had a fourth sister, on my fourth sister's
true.
wedding, than
Minding.
being
Chasing after my
preoccupied with it's just chasing my child, right? So it's also
Okay.
just bring them to someone to babysit.
Yeah. So I guess ultimately in this step number 2 here, be careful with your guest list. It's okay to say no. Set your boundaries. Don't let other people assume they're coming if they're not. But yeah, because guest list will dictate how much
Your cost.
you're going to be spending on your wedding because it hits the venue. I mean, it can limit your venue choices. It could increase costs for stationery if you send invitations. Now you have to make 10 more if you invited 10 more families or people. Staffing, favors, rentals, all that kind of stuff. So be very careful with your guest list. Which, this is why we put it as step number 2. Step number 3. No,
Why are you
yet.
quizzing
Oh,
us?
shoot.
I don't remember.
You're supposed to read my outline.
I did read it, but I forgot. What is step 3, Joy?
Bickering bells.
Is the big picture. You want to start talking about the big
Like photographer.
No. The big picture for your wedding, what I mean by that is, like, you're not thinking about the decor details or the theme or anything like that, but you want to figure out what you want from your wedding. Do you want it to be a super formal affair, black and
Oh,
white?
like that. Okay.
Do you want it to be super relaxed and casual? There's no wrong way to do a wedding, right? Like, you need to start deciding on that, because if your partner wants a black tie affair and you want hot dogs and pizza,
Yeah.
like, that's a big point of contention. So the step 3 after budget and creating your guest list is to talk about the big picture.
Yep. That makes sense. I think also something you need to think about too is in 10 years or 20 years from now, is what I'm working on right now going to be remembered, I guess. Because I think a lot of people start fixating on smaller things in the wedding that most guests might not even notice or pay attention to.
I don't care what color your napkins are.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
So, like, why fixate and stress so much about that one thing? When at the end of the day, you want people to worry more about, oh, the party was great, the dancing was great, I don't know, the ceremony was beautiful, the vows, things that actually matter more to you. So I think that's something to consider as well when you're considering what your vision for the wedding day is.
The biggest thing is it's got to be your vision. So you have to be selfish and think, is this what I want for my wedding? And don't think about what other people will think of your wedding, right? So if you envisioned, I don't know, when you were a little girl, you wanted a wedding at a big castle or somewhere out of the city or out of town, then do that. Talk to your partner about it and agree on whatever that big picture may be.
You have to
right?
determine what matters to you.
Don't worry about what other people will think about what your big picture wedding is.
At the end of the day, it's your wedding,
Mhm.
right? Nobody else has to live with the choices that were made. It's your wedding.
And you got to be happy with what you decide, right? And
Another big thing, though, that you should consider is guest experience. Like, I know we're saying that you should be selfish and you should think about your vision as well, but naturally, people are attending your wedding. They are your guest. So it would be almost like if you invited them into your home, right? So if you can imagine, this is a bad example, I guess, but you invite someone to your home and you have no chairs, right?
everyone's standing.
That is still, even though we are saying be selfish, still consider.
There are some little
guests.
things, yeah.
Yeah, still consider your guests, okay? You don't want to serve everyone just one bite of a canapé, and that's it. You're gonna have not very happy guests, right? These are your loved ones that are meaningful to you. You want to treat them well as well.
Ultimately, think of yourself too, and ask yourself, will I be happy with one bite of a canapé? One slice of pizza? Like one little piece of chicken? And no chairs?
Oh,
you wouldn't be happy with it either.
I can't
right?
wait to do
so,
some reaction. I'm gonna do some reaction videos for you guys. I've read so many. Lots of horror stories. But I love Pinterest, don't get me wrong, I'm always on Pinterest, but it can be bad sometimes because it gives you a lot of unrealistic expectations for a wedding and it prioritizes the small things, right? Like all the detail shots that are really beautiful, don't get me wrong. It's great for inspiration, but it's not, it's not the instruction booklet. Like,
and
honestly, think about the overall picture.
On Pinterest, it's most of those things they're not real weddings. They're
styled shoots.
They are posed and they try to make it as looking as good as much as they could, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they usually hire
all
the vendors and
not
models.
It's not usually a realistic
planners.
wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And event designers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So be
It
careful.
can be bad.
Be careful with that stuff. Remember, in this step, what we're asking you to do is just thinking about the big picture. Don't think about what color napkins, how you're going to fold them. Think about how you want to feel, how you want your guests to feel, what kind of meaningful things that you might want to include, right? Big versus intimate. Is it going to be traditional versus non-traditional? Those kinds of things is this step 3. Step 4.
Step 4 is venue.
Yeah.
Got it. We got it finally.
Step 4 is venue, and it's surprising that it's so far down this list of 5 steps, right? You'd think, because it's a big ticket item. It's arguably your biggest ticket item, but it's your 4th thing that you need to do, right? The venue that you pick, it will lock in your date. It will possibly lock in the style of wedding that you're having, right? Like if I wanted a classic wedding, I wouldn't book a barn, for example, right? And it could also potentially limit your vendor options. You know, not everybody will service out of town, for example, or people might charge a surcharge for going out of town or something like that. So venue is really important here too.
All-inclusive venues are a lot more expensive than, say, a hall that you're going to book in the city or even outside of the city. And again, it's because it comes with a lot of other services, manpower, people labor, and people cost to make it just smoother for the couple. So less things to kind of worry about. So what you save in money in a hall booking, for example, you will now be spending in your own efforts or other people's efforts. So I think
But keep in mind, sometimes some all-inclusive places, there are still some hidden costs
Yeah, some all-inclusives might charge for like decor
for little
packages.
thing, other little
Things
things.
to charge extra
So
for certain
you
things.
kind of have to think about those
Read
things
the
too,
fine
versus the DIY,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I did read somewhere though, and I don't have the source right in front of me, but I read somewhere that most of the time when you rent a totally blank venue like a hall, costs actually become more than all-inclusive because you have to buy tables, you have to buy all the decor to make it look nicer, if that's what you care about. You have to maybe bring in tables, although most halls, at least where we are, have them. But like, something to consider. Just because the base fee of a DIY hall is cheaper doesn't mean it's going to be cheaper at the very end. So be careful.
Yeah, because again, it's the cost of the people,
Yeah.
right? So like if it means you're going to have to hire people to do all the setup, the decorating and all of that, or you're going to have your friends and family who, by the way, are guests at your wedding to do all that setup for you, there is going to be a cost to it. It might not cost in dollars, but it may cost in blood, sweat, and tears, relationships.
Yeah,
Like you just never know, right? So I am like, as planners, we are wary sometimes when some clients have family friends do certain things, because sometimes something happens between now and the wedding date where that family friend is no longer friends, and then that results in stress for the couple closer to the date. And generally speaking, yeah, DIYs, much more stress for the couple closer to the date.
It's a lot more time spent out of everybody.
yeah,
not just you.
Like if you
right?
put a
So-
dollar value on your time,
Or your friends and family time.
yeah.
Yeah. So just remember again, if guest experience is part of the big picture, maybe you don't want to assign 10,000 tasks to your brother or sister or something like that, right? Because you want them to be with you that day and just enjoy
that moment,
that moment with
Yeah.
you. So, another thing about venue, especially here where we live, weather.
Oh yes,
Weather matters a lot.
there's always got to be a backup
Right, so
plan.
When you are
Always.
looking around at venues and you maybe have your heart set on an outdoor one, make sure you ask them what their plans are. If it rains, or are you kind of SOL, out of luck, and just have to get rained on, or have to rent a tent, which is a lot of money, especially with Alberta weather where we're based. Be sure that
Ask the plan B.
ask for plan B. I have a question for you guys. What made you say yes or no to a certain venue?
Oh, for me it was the food.
Food is important.
Food was the number one priority.
We're
Really.
Filipino.
Yeah, And it had to be a buffet. Of course, we're always hungry. We're hungry at, I don't know, 7 p.m., 9 p.m., and midnight. So there's going to be midnight lunch.
We're really
too.
outing ourselves.
But food was definitely our number one priority. It may not be yours. So you just have to figure out what that is.
And a different caterer. Like that might be a potential thing for you guys too. So yeah, so
That was the number one thing. Yeah.
What about for you, Jules?
For us, one of the things we looked at was location. Again, considering the guest experience, we had some elderly in the family that we didn't want for them to have to travel far to attend the ceremony and reception. So we chose a place that was central to kind of both sides of the family, so that was easily accessible. And then, of course, the venue itself had beautiful windows. And I'm big on natural light. So we just loved the windows and just the setup of the venue. And it was more of it wasn't quite all-inclusive, but, you know, it was at a hotel. So it had more services that we didn't really have to worry about. Like, we didn't have to worry about booking a caterer, for example. So,
Yeah, so that's a big advantage. I think I remember for your wedding, parking was a big one that you.
oh, yes, we didn't, again, guest experience, we didn't want our guests to be paying for parking. So downtown was kind of out of the picture for a lot because most of those venues, you have to pay for parking, or if so, like, I mean, we would end up having to pay an extra cost for parking. Another hidden cost.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I was a budget wedding, remember? So the price was the most important part for my venue, which is, again, ironic because I ended up having a destination wedding in a way. And that kind of took away some of the costs for me, but put it on my guests instead. So potentially guest experience is impacted there too. So anyway.
But you did a really good job even of like making those like welcome kits and stuff. That was really nice. And then having like, oh yeah, I
They're
remember.
talking me up. This is weird.
Oh, that was really nice. Like I honestly like
I
you had a
enjoyed
lot
that.
of special touches at the wedding. That was like, oh
Yeah.
Because I had a small guest list.
And that's probably
I could
why
do
you
it.
had more, like you could put in more effort
more
because there's
time.
less people to worry about.
Yeah, when I got married, this is totally sidetracked. But when I got married, I had actually just started my grad school program. So I remember being super, super stressed. But anyway,
It was all worth it. You had the best time. And everybody had the best time.
so step 4, choose a venue. Be careful about hidden costs associated with that venue, like whether you need to bring in work or labor to bring chairs and tables and that kind of stuff in. Parking is a big one. Location could be a big one. And food. Yes. Okay. Last step. And it's not really the last step of planning per se, but it's the last step that we're going to kind of bias talk about. And it's to decide if you need a planner. Right? So not all weddings need a planner, but this is around the time that maybe you should start thinking about reaching out. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the different types of services that planners offer. So
Well, I mean, I think most people assume that wedding planners do the whole shebang, right? So that's what at least in our product line, we call it the full planning, right? So that's start to finish. We kind of just pick everything up, like based on whatever vision you have and whatever. If you haven't booked any vendors, cool. Like we would be providing options for you based on your budget and whatever we discussed as to what you're looking for. And then just kind of go step by step through all of the vendors that's needed and after the venue is booked, of course, and then go from there. But planners can be as involved as much or as little as you want. So I think the most common thing that I think most people look for are the month of or day of coordinators. And those are the ones that kind of just jump in the last month and a half-ish of your wedding to kind of pick up what you've planned and then kind of execute the plan for you. And we even have something as low commitment as just the consultations, right? So those are the ones where you just kind of want to talk to a planner to get like a second opinion on something or for them to do some research or advice for you for something else that you need help with. So wedding planners aren't just those people like, Jennifer Lopez running a full-on show with the headsets and things. I mean, we could be.
our headsets.
But we did. But it depends on the complexity of the wedding. So some people are very hands-on with their wedding.
Some couples
You don't need a planner.
They don't need a planner. They maybe all they need is someone helping them with decorations, doing the setup and then the tear down. So that's something that we could do too.
We're not saying that everybody needs a planner. You just really need to assess
What your needs are.
You need one, right? Like again, some people can employ quote unquote, their family and friends to help run their wedding, to make sure everything's running on time.
And that's
MCs, very important for a wedding. They can help you stay on schedule and get everybody on track all the time. That's totally viable. But if you are more somebody that doesn't want that kind of stress or having to worry one of their guests to manage all these things, maybe a planner might be a good idea for you. Maybe.
Yeah, and if you don't have that time, right, at home doing all the planning for your wedding, then that's something.
Busy. Maybe you don't want to
Some people
deal with all the people.
Fun fact.
I think people do forget, like, there's a lot of logistics that sometimes most people forget about leading up to a wedding, right? So, like, even the things like who's getting into which car to get to this one place, right? The planner has to think about that, or who's getting in the limo at what time to get to here. So I think some of those things, like, it's mental load, I guess. And a planner helps in just kind of removing that. And then you can focus more on the fun stuff, like, DIYing decor, or, picking your bridesmaids dresses without really worrying about all the other stuff.
And especially on the day of, if you don't want to have that stress of, oh, what time is it? Like, I have to do my cake cutting now.
Yeah.
And that's what wedding planners can help you with too, and build that timeline, right? And not have to, you don't have to worry about looking at the time all the time, the entire night. You're supposed to be enjoying your day. So
yeah, that was ultimately why we chose to hire a planner on our day. We were, like, the three of us in general are just very type A planner people, which is why we're in this industry to begin with. But when I was, getting down to the day, I've planned everything. I already had my timeline. I just didn't want anyone else, like, the guest experience again, right? Like, I didn't want my family to have to stress about what time is it, or like where does this person have to be, is this vendor here, all of that kind of stuff. So we ended up hiring a planner for that, and they also did our setup and tear down. They did a great job, and honestly, like, worth it, absolutely worth it. I mean, I'm sure there's sticker shock involved, but at that point we were so far gone on the budget, it didn't matter anymore.
Oh no.
But honestly, it was one of our best, I would say, investments. Like, we don't regret having a planner for sure.
I wish I had a wedding planner. I remember just being stressed out about the whole day. I didn't sleep the day before, just thinking about the times, the timeline, the schedule. I had it already all prepared. It was more of like the execution of it on the day of, while you're busy with getting married.
And all the social events that lead up to a wedding, right?
Absolutely.
There's a rehearsal dinner, if you're having that.
Yes, and planners can help with all that kind of stuff. So coordinating your family, wrangling people.
Right.
I think the number one thing that we do when we're planners is wrangle people.
Wrangle, yeah.
Like that's
Finding the people you need.
You're like,
where are you?
If maybe you're interested in wedding planning and that's why you're watching our random podcast here, maybe you want to start your own thing. If you don't like people, might not be the industry for you.
I think the value in a planner, it has a lot to do with just being able to coordinate the various groups. Like, a wedding is a production. Like, it's not just a couple getting married, right? There's a lot of other things that kind of have to tie together at the perfect time to get to what, the show is supposed to be about. Not saying that weddings are shows, but that's kind of what it is. So, like, again, just that mental load of knowing where things are supposed to be at what time, and just making sure the couple, of course, is also enjoying their day. That aspect is actually quite stressful. And, just making sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible for the couple and making sure they're happy on their day is, like, I think our biggest value. On top of course, the hours and hours of work leading up to it. It's like, especially leading up in the last 2 months, I would say the last 2 months is crunch time for the wedding. And there's just a lot of things that I would say, as myself, having gone through my own wedding, you just forget, right?
I guess you forget certain things.
Yeah, and like, it's nice to have
logistics-wise.
someone to kind of sanity check you, I guess, if that's...
Yeah, sanity check is a good hidden thing that planet.
Because, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys felt this, but I know, like, in the last couple of days, I'm always like, am I forgetting something?
You always question yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And you wonder.
It's really helpful to have a third party
Yeah.
that's not, emotionally involved in the wedding. It's just
And not involved in any, like, drama.
yeah, that can really look at your
Outside.
wedding with a
Objective.
objective lens. It's really handy. But yeah, so step 5, and we're not trying to plug ourselves here, but we consider a planner because there is a lot of value in there, and there's probably tons in the area that you're in. and interview them very well. You need to make sure you're quite compatible with them because
It's about fit.
you will be with them potentially for 12 to 18 months, your whole engagement. And if you don't jive, you don't see eye to eye, you don't have the same excitement, or, you know, your energy doesn't match, your crazy doesn't match their crazy. I don't know how else you would say it.
Yeah.
It might not be a good fit. So if you are looking for a planner, make sure that you interview them very well. Make sure it fits within your budget.
Yeah, that's a budget item as well that you need to consider, right? Like planners can, depending on how experienced they are, can range in price.
Yeah.
So just do your market research, interview, and just make sure they're a good fit for you from a personality perspective, cultural perspective even, and also just like vision perspective, right? Like look at their portfolios. Ask them like, were these styled shoots or were these actual weddings? Because styled shoots typically are just ads.
Some common mistakes if you skip these steps. Booking things before you budget. Right? You can definitely go over budget if you didn't consider one. Other common mistakes is, maybe this is one that I can kind of relate to, is I actually booked my venue before I even got engaged because my husband and I were pretty set on this particular venue. But we figured out that this venue was smaller than we anticipated. So that actually dictated our guest count. Should really be the other way. So that's a pretty common mistake. Luckily it worked out for us because I had a small guest list to begin with. But that's a very common mistake as well, is booking a venue that's maybe way too large for the number of people that you want to book, or way too small for the number of people that you want to invite. And then another common mistake is doing all of your small things before considering your big picture, right? Like if you're looking into the type of silverware that you're going to have before you even figure out if you want a big or intimate wedding, maybe do them the other way around. And then be very, very careful when you're on social media. And this goes with almost like everything. Motherhood, wedding planning. Social media only shows you highlights of something. It might not be very realistic. So make sure you manage your expectations accordingly. I don't know if that counts as a common mistake or if you skip these steps.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like social media just like makes you see something that you think is really common just because so many people have commented, liked it or whatever. And then like you feel like you have to do that same thing too. And it just, I don't know, I feel like it just sets your bar pretty high for yourself, and then it just creates more stress and everything for you down the road. So
Make your wedding, make it yourself. Like it shouldn't.
It's about you.
It's about you. You shouldn't be pleasing other people. You shouldn't care about what it looks like. I mean, for you have to care about it, but other people shouldn't dictate that.
There's another saying, right? Comparison is a thief of joy, right? So it's like, oh, it doesn't look exactly like this picture. Well, that was somebody else's wedding anyway, so I kind of look like theirs.
Yeah, a totally different venue. Maybe it's a totally different climate. Like, yes. Anyway, to recap this whole episode, the first thing you got to do, step number 1, is budget. Step number 2, make your guest list. Step number 3 is figure out your vision, big picture vision. 4, book your venue. And 5, but not least, determine what kind of planning supports that you might need. And again, might not be a hired person, might even just be a very type A person in your family, like what we end up usually doing. But these 5 steps, if you just got engaged and you follow these 5 steps, I think you're well on your way to planning an amazing wedding.
I hope it helps you guys out.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Congratulations again. Take some time for yourself to enjoy this new phase. But yeah, so take some time to enjoy this part of your life. You know, maybe block out all of the questions that you're getting from everybody about when the date is or anything like that. And just enjoy this new phase with your partner. And yeah, we love love. It's awesome.
And have fun.
Yeah, and I think enjoy it. That's the biggest thing. Like it's a short stage in your life. It goes by really fast, and then you get a wedding hangover at the end of it.
Yes.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So yeah, that concludes our very first episode of Belles and Banter. We hope that it's helpful to you. We're hoping that we're going to release weekly-ish episodes. We'll see. We'll see. No promises, but weekly right now is our goal. And in the future, we have some ideas. We could do like Reddit, Am I the Asshole kind of stories, that kind of thing. We might do some informational ones about, like different kinds of bustles, like we talked about in this episode, or maybe different cultural traditions that we see a lot. Shopping tips maybe for venues or something like that, questions that you can ask, that kind of stuff. How to set boundaries maybe. Things like that. If you have any other ideas,
you let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you guys have any requests about things that you want to try. And if you like this episode, it would really help if you liked, commented, and subscribed. And we'll see you guys in episode 2. Bye.
Bye.